Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to work with the shopping cart. Now, if you're logged in, you'll see all this in the information. And over on the left we have two sections. We have the WooCommerce button and we have the products button. 95% of the time you're going to be working in the products area. The only real reason you want to come to WooCommerce button is to check orders. Outside of that, I don't recommend using it unless you're really comfortable with working and editing WooCommerce, because most of the stuff in here is settings and add-ons, and you really don't want to mess with that unless, like I said, unless you know what you're doing. The other area will be the products section, where we can edit current products as well as add products, categories, and a few other things. Okay, so let's go to the front end, and what I want to do is go to the shop real fast, and then let's find something that we can work with. So let's try this one. Now what I want to do point out is these images are way too small. So it's kind of making these boxes look a little funny. You really want a bigger picture so it fills out this box. This one's a little bit better, but it's also not centered. So these are okay, but kind of making the cart look a little off. So the bigger the picture, the better. That way it fills in this area like it's supposed to. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and click on this item. And then what we're going to see obviously is the option, the title, and the information, and then these tables of information as it was entered in the back end. Okay? So what we can do is if we've logged into this section to the back end of WordPress, if we're visiting the site, we'll get this extra toolbar up here. So if you're on a page and like, oh, I need to edit this or change that, you can just click Edit Product. It's going to take you right to the page. Alright, so this is under Products. So instead of going into the Product section like here and searching through 715 items or whatever you have trying to find it, that's another way you can get to it quickly if you're having a hard time finding it. So obviously this is the title of the product. This is the description that I just went over. Let me pull it up again real fast. That's this stuff right here. Alright. Over on the right you'll see the brands, so you need to check this to add it to the brand section. If you need to add a new brand, you can add it by clicking this and then filling that out. Or over here on the left, you have a button for brands, you can add them there. And then the same thing for your categories and your other stuff. You can actually add that in here. So as you're adding your products, make sure you select your brand if it's, I'm assuming you have brands for everything you sell. As well as your categories. If you do not set a category, it's not going to show up on your site. So, if you go to create a new product and then you save it and you're like, oh, well, why don't I see it? Well, you need to add it to a category, otherwise it's not going to show. Same thing for categories. If you create a new category, do not add a product to it. Your category will not show on the website until it has, products attached to it. Okay, and then you also have product tags. So, for instance, you'll see this one, tips and nozzles. This works exactly the same way as these other two here. Okay, so let's scroll down a little bit, and what we're going to see over here is really important. This section is really where you have to do a few things to make the product work like it's supposed to on the website. In this case, pricing, adding the options, and that kind of a thing. So first thing we want to make sure that we do is if we're adding a item to the shopping cart, or to the shop I should say, sorry, that has options where you can choose different pricing and options and such, you need to make sure you choose a variable product. That's the first thing you need to do. Next, if we come down on the list, what we'll see is inventory. You don't need to mess with that. We have shipping. We don't need to mess with this since we have it hooked up with UPS to do automatic rates. Next thing, we have linked products. Again, you don't have to worry about that. Now, what really gets important are the attributes and variations, and this is highly important if you're doing an item, sorry about that. If you're doing an item that actually has choose an option, as a drop down to select your product. Okay, it will not work unless you have variable product chosen, as well as setting up attributes and variations. Now, if I click attributes, what you'll see is custom product attribute here, and then right below that we'll see this options thing, and then if I expand this, you can see all the options. So what we have is option A through R, And if I come to this and I open this up, I have A through R, right? So when you do your options, you need to enter it in just like you see here. So the name of your option, then the line, the dividing line. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I can't think of it right now. So for instance, I have option R, I need to add another one. I'll put the line, and then I'll do option S, and then if I need another one, option T, and then I'll save it. Let's refresh. Now we don't see it, and I'm going to show you why. We don't see that, right? So we go back, variations, let's look. What do we have here? We have A through R. Now, for whatever reason it does it backwards, meaning it doesn't. You're not going to see A first, B, C, D, E, F, G. The last one made shows up here, and it paginates it. So if I come and hit number 2, I'll see that we have A, B, and C. That's the start of it, right? Okay, so let me go back. So just a refresher, I added C and S and T as options, but they're not showing. So there's 2 steps to doing this. All right. Okay, so look up here. We see default form values, and we see add a variation. So if I click add variation, go, we're going to see it now shows up here. Any options? Go ahead and click this, and then choose it. So we have S, then another go, and then T. All right, and then save changes. And then update. Okay, so let's go ahead and check. Now we have our R in there. I'm not sure why we don't have T. I'm not really sure on that one. But either way, you get the idea behind that. Let me go ahead and remove these out, because you guys don't really have those in there. So right over here, you'll see a remove button. Remove it. And remove. All right. And then let's go ahead and update. Okay, next and highly important is the pricing and the weight. Obviously, if you don't have a price, people can't buy it, and if you don't have a weight, UPS is not going to be able to calculate the cost for shipping. So for instance, I do this one, I get my cost, and then I'll add it to cart. And if I view my cart, I'm going to get my calculated shipping for this. And I've already entered in previously before I started this video my location, so it knows based on, on previous activity on here. So you'll have to enter that in if it's, for the first time. Okay, so let's scroll down and let's just look at option R. And if I come over here and I click this arrow, it's going to expand. It's going to expand the box, and then I'll see information. I'll see the regular price. I'll see the SKU number, everything you guys are entering in, your sales price, and some other stuff such as how many is in stock, out of stock, obviously, and then the weight. We have 1 pound, and then so forth. And then as I look at some of these other ones, same thing, different pricing though, and then the weight, I would imagine it's the same for the most part. Okay, so if you do not add these, if you do not fill these out, you're not going to have pricing and weights showing up for your particular product. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just to go over it one more real quickly, you need variable product selected. Okay, shipping, inventory in general do not matter. Attributes, you need to make sure you have custom product attributes set up. You add it just like you see here. Click add. Okay, you see how that's in there? This is going to show up, and then when you click to add it for a new product, you open this up. Well, it would be opened up just like we just saw, and you need to make sure these are checked, and then you add your option, the title of your options. In this case, option A, option B, option C. Okay, so let's close that one more time. Add, so options, use for variations, and then something like option 1, and then your dividing line, option 2, and so forth, okay? All right, let me open this, make sure I didn't mess it up, okay? And once you're done, you go ahead and click Save. After that, you have your variations. You need to make sure you add these. You would do that by clicking Add Variation, you hit Go, and then you'll see the box pop up here, and then choose the variation that you add, and as you add each individual one, you'll need to then go in and add in the information such as pricing and weight, SKU number, and etc. It's a tedious process, but when you have variations, unfortunately, that's just what you have to do. Okay? Let me go ahead and update this. Now let me see if we can find a product that does not have variations so you can see how that works. Let me see what we got here. Seems like everything has an option. Let's see, gauges. I wish I knew a little bit more about your product so I could quickly... Let me go ahead and pause this and see if I can find one real fast. Alright, so I found this one. This is what we see if there's no option attached. We'll see add to cart as opposed to option. Okay, so when we click on this one, here's the information, got a base price, and then your information on this particular item. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and edit product like we did last time. Here you can edit your information, your description, obviously your brand needs to be set up, your products, what is going to fall under product categories, and your tags if you're using them. Now the main difference between this one and the other one, the variation one, is that instead of it being variable product, it's a simple product. And you have much less work to do. SKU number, your price, sale price if you have one. Then if you come to inventory, you know, list whether it's in stock or not. So, and real quick, basically, all these options I'm reading right now are the options that would be listed under the attributes when you're filling out the options. It's the same fields, just separated a little bit. So again, make sure your SKU number's there, your price is there, sale price if you have it, inventory, is it in stock, shipping, only thing you need to do here is add weight, that is it. And you don't have to fill out anything else. This advance in an attributes section is only if you're doing a variable product like we just previously went over. Oh, and I completely forgot, I'm sure you would have figured it out, but over on the right is a box for your product image, and this is the image you upload that shows up right here and in the thumbnail section. So that's where earlier in the beginning of the video I mentioned, hey, you probably should upload bigger pictures. That way it fills out a little bit better on that. Okay, that will do it for this one. I hope it helps you.